Global TV News Express, House of Representatives OK's bill on state police for second reading. Federal government to install biometric gates at international airports in March. Flood leaves residents stranded in Lagos communities. And on the foreign scene, U.S. calls for temporary ceasefire in UN texts. In sports, CAF says 2025 AFCON to be played between July and August. And in business, Ripe's query banks over 11.632 trillion naira federal government revenue collected. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwebe. The Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN, has engaged the leadership and members of the Senate Committee on the passage of the proposed CIBN Act bill. The President and Chairman of the Council of CIBN, Dr. Ken Okpara, disclosed this when he led a team of the Institute to the Senate. The team's visit was meant to seek Senate's favorable disposition towards the proposed CIBN Act and share critical thoughts on key issues affecting the banking and finance industry. Okpara commended the committee for the support it is giving to the Institute towards the review of the extant laws in the financial sector. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has queried Access Bank, Citibank, EcoBank, and Fidelity Bank over 11.632 trillion naira revenue collected on behalf of the federal government through the Remitter platform between 2015 and 2022 fiscal years. Bamidele Salam, Chairman, House Committee on Public Accounts, issued a query at the resumed investigative hearing on alleged revenue leakages through the Remitter platform in Abuja. The committee demanded all the agreements signed between all the participating domestic banks and System Spec Remitter during the period under review. The House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill to provide for the establishment of state police in the country. Sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, and 14 others, the bill seeks to alter the relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution as amended to pave the way for states to establish their own policing outfits. As lawmakers took turns to contribute to the debate on the floor of the House during the day's plenary, Kalu, who stood in for the Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, urged members to look beyond political ambitions and think about the safety of Nigerians and the nation. The federal government says it will give more attention to fixing roads and seek more remedies on the cost of gas and import duties to bring down the astronomical price of cement nationwide. This is part of the communique that was reached during a meeting between the government and the major cement manufacturers in Abuja. Senator David Umahi, Minister of Works, and his counterpart, Minister of Trade and Investment, Doris Uzoka-Anite, and the three major cement manufacturers signed the communique. According to the documents, the government has taken note of the challenges enumerated by the manufacturers, which include cost of gas, high import duty on spare parts, bad road network, high foreign exchange, and the smuggling of cement to neighboring nations. The Eastern Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy says the Navy saved the nation of 95 billion naira through the operations of the command between April 2023 and February 2024. This is disclosed in Calabar by Rear Admiral Olushola Oluwagbere during a parade to mark the end of his tour of duty as the flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command. Following last year's ultimatum by President Bola Tinubu to the service chiefs and heads of security and intelligence agencies to crush perpetrators of oil thefts, there has been an increased onslaught on oil thefts in the country. In January, the Nigerian Army said it destroyed 233 illegal refineries in the Niger Delta region and arrested 112 suspected oil thieves last year. The Nigeria Customs Service Kano Area Command says it has intercepted 4 trucks of feed items as part of efforts to tackle smuggling. This is contained in a statement by the spokesman of the service, Sadiu Nuruddin, in Kano. He said the personnel of the service intercepted the vehicles transporting a significant quantity of feed items intended for illegal export along the Hadija-Tura Ringim axis in Jigawa. The items to include 1,505 cartons of big and small-sized dried fish, 17 bags of local variety rice, and 2 bags of beans. Nuruddin urged members of the public to provide credible information to enable its smuggling. The police in Kaduna have arrested 4 suspects for alleged armed robbery in the state. Spokesman of the command, DSP Mansiru Hassan, stated that the suspects allegedly terrorized some communities in the state. He said the suspects allegedly robbed innocent citizens of motorcycles and other valuables along Ado Gwaron in Mahuta community in Igabi local government area of the state. Hassan said the police recovered 5 vehicle number plates, spare parts, and new SIM cards from the suspect. The command recorded a significant feat as a sequel to proactive measures adopted by the Commissioner of Police, Audu Ali. You're watching News Express, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using at Global TVNG and other handles, as you now see on your screen. When News Express returns, Naira volatility continues as intraday high reaches 1,712 Naira. We have that story and more for you right after this break. To stay with us. This is Global Television, bringing you a live broadcast of News Express with Uyi Agumofwebe. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. Many residents of Lagos communities were left stranded as a result of flood following the downpour that left many houses submerged in the Alimosho local government area of the state. The rain, which started around 6 a.m. on Tuesday in most parts of the metropolis, took over streets and bridges, hindering vehicular movement. The most affected communities include Abule Egba, Command, Agege, and Egbeda areas of the state. In the meantime, emergency responders from both the state and federal government agencies were on the ground to rescue the trapped victims. Members of the major energies marketers of Nigeria says it would be illegal to negotiate and fix the cost of lifting fuel with members of the National Association of Transport Owners. The NATO president, Yusuf Othman, had, in a letter to truck drivers who were members of other unions and associations, said NATO had made several efforts to secure negotiations for appropriate and commensurate freight rates for its operations from all authorities concerned in the industry, especially the major marketers, without any positive results. However, the major marketers said the decision of NATO to stop transporting fuel may not have much effect on its members, some of whom now have separate transporters. On the foreign scene, the U.S. has proposed a draft resolution at the UN Security Council which calls for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. It has also warned Israel against invading the overcrowded city of Rafah. The U.S. has previously avoided the word ceasefire during UN votes on the war, but President Joe Biden has made similar comments. However, the U.S. plans to veto another draft resolution from Algeria which calls for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. More than 1 million displaced Palestinians, who represent about half of Gaza's population, are crammed into Rafah after being forced to seek shelter there. Polish farmers are staging protests against cheap Ukrainian grain flooding the markets and EU regulations on pesticide and fertilizer usage. Tractors flying Polish flags blocked motorways and major junctions in most 200 locations, organizers said. Blockades are also taking place at several border crossings with Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the protests demonstrated the daily erosion of solidarity with the Ukraine. He said the protests were about politics, not grain, because only 5% of the country's agricultural exports pass through the Polish border. Russian President Vladimir Putin has given North Korean leader Kim Jong-un a luxury Russian-made car. Pyongyang state media said the limousine was delivered to Kim's top aides on Sunday. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov later confirmed the gift, saying it was an Urus, a full-sized luxury sedan of the type used by Putin himself. The two internationally isolated countries have forged close relations since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. North Korea is thought to be supplying Russia with artillery, rockets, and ballistic missiles for the war, despite international sanctions on both countries. Both sides deny breaching sanctions. The High Court in London has begun hearing WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's final UK appeal against extradition to the United States to face trial over publishing secret military and diplomatic files. Washington wants the 52-year-old Australian citizen extradited after he was charged there multiple times between 2018 and 2020 in connection with WikiLeaks' 2010 publication of files relating to the U.S.-led wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. If this week's two-day bid to appeal is successful, he will have another chance to argue his case in a London court with a date set for a full hearing. If he loses, Assange will have exhausted all UK appeals and will enter extradition process, although his team has indicated they will appeal to European Court. And now time to return to business. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, has advocated the incorporation of artificial intelligence, also called AI, into Nigeria's security framework to improve outcomes. Director General of the agency, Kashifu Inuwa, issued this call during a meeting with the commandant of the National Institute for Security Studies, NISS, A.S. Adeleke, who was represented by the Deputy Commandant, D.E. Egbeji. A statement from the agency conveyed that Inuwa emphasized the distinct methods employed by the security and information technology IT sectors. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, has given assurance that all imported fuels had undergone comprehensive quality recertification. Ayo Cardoso, coordinator, Southwest Region of the agency, gave the assurance in Lagos. It reacted to claims by some Lagos residents that petrol currently being dispensed in some filling stations burns faster than usual. The NMDPRA coordinator said all imported fuels undergo comprehensive quality recertification and must be within acceptable limits in line with the Standards Organization of Nigeria and the Nigeria Immigration Service specifications before the vessels are allowed to discharge into various depots. The removal of fuel subsidy, which ultimately led to high increase of petroleum motors or premium motor spirits, PMS, by President Bola Tinubu's administration, has since May 29, 2023 triggered a chain reaction, causing higher transportation costs and ultimately contributing to inflation. Editor Michael samples reactions by Nigerians for 8 months of subsidy removal.
Now in its 9th month, President Tinubu's administration has seen an increase in prices of goods and services, a development that has drastically affected the purchasing power of citizens. According to some Nigerians, the burden of increased fuel price, in particular, has affected low-income individuals and families, effectively worsening income inequality. This has left most Nigerians no better option other than to spend a sizable portion of their income on fuel and basic necessities.
We are pleading for the government to reverse it back, because if you see the situations of this country now, it's very hard for the citizen. Even to feed 3 square meters is very difficult for the citizen. But if you look at the queue now, see, even upon all those subsidy removal, queue is still there. But if they reverse it back, it can bring something down, like all those prices can bring the price down, price of the commodity. If you go to the market now, the thing you buy today, tomorrow will add 100 naira, 200 naira upon all those the subsidy removal. We thought that the removal of the subsidy will bring the benefit to the citizen.
The impact of subsidy that they say they have finally removed is really not really helping Nigerians. Things are getting more difficult. The masses are hungry. And you know, when the hungry man is an angry man, it's just that Nigeria is a country that we always be patient, we believe in God. But man, federal government, state government, and the local government, they should look into it and please bring back subsidy to the nation and let's help Nigeria.
I'm a transport business. Since the subsidy has been removed, things hard, and the fare is too cost, so people cannot afford to pay the transport. Things hard.
The subsidy removal, it has taken a place. Initially, for acts of my opinion, I wouldn't have supported because the government would have put things in order first before remove. Look at, for instance, when the airport has issue that they want to renovate airport, you know, the first thing government do, they put the Kaduna airport in order, put security on the road to put things in order before they started renovating. Then they have making alternative. But government does not have alternative in, they know that this thing will affect the poor people. They do not put things in order, they just removed it. But the mistake, maybe if it is a mistake, it has been done already. But what I'm seeing the government should do now is that rice is a common food for Nigerians. If they can divert that money to rice, then fine. When rice is cheap, other things will be cheap. And transportation too. At least if a government can introduce bus, like the way I referred this in the past administration during Obasanjo, he introduced buses, which is 15 naira, taking people to working place. And at least it reduces suffer of people. But this government, you have removed a fuel subsidy getting to a year. Now nothing has been questioned.
Transport, they should subsidize transport. It will be more easy for you to move from point A to point B. That in terms of subsidizing the transport, then food. If the farmer can go back to the farm by giving them security, then you know the pressure will be down.
The removal of the first subsidy in the country is a complex decision by government with a lot of implications. However, while according to the government, they are saying that it can actually lead to the positive outcomes such as improved fiscal health, increase in revenue generations, and environmental benefits. However, it also poses challenges in terms of inflation, social unrest, and the potential negative of low-income individuals in the country. They are calling on government that if need be to bring back subsidy, then it must be considered because cost of living has been on the high side for about 8 months of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Edika Michael reporting for Global TV News.
A Global TV correspondent, they're sampling opinions of Nigerians on account of their reactions to the subsidy removal and its consequences. Thank you, Michael Edika. Let's turn to the stories for you. The federal government has concluded plans to install biometric clearance gates for the Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, at the international airports in the country. The gates are expected to be ready at these airports by March of 2024. The international airports in Nigeria, where the facilities will be installed, are the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Malam Aminu Kano International Airports, Port Harcourt International Airports, and Akanumbiam International Airports in Enugu. When put to use, the gates would provide seamless clearance services for passengers entering the country through any of the international airports. The Naira experienced a sharp depreciation against the US dollar, reaching an intraday high of 1,712. The domestic currency depreciated by 3.78% to close at 1,598 Naira 54 kobo to a dollar at the close of business, according to data from NAFEM, where Forex is officially traded. This represents a 60 Naira 58 kobo drop, or a 3.78% decrease in the local currency compared to the 1,537 Naira 96 kobo it closed at on Friday. In the meantime, the Naira continued its downward trend against the United States dollar at the official and parallel foreign exchange markets, much to the despair of citizens. This was as the parallel segment of the foreign exchange market recorded a new all-time low for the Naira, which depreciated to 1,730 Naira to the dollar. It was length that the development-led operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to raid some Bureau de Change operators' outlets in Abuja, arresting currency traders suspected to be speculating against the Naira. This represents 60 naira, or 3.59% drop from the 1,670 naira to the dollar recorded at the close of trade at the black market. Now let's find some excitement in sports. Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard said he is confident in the Gunners can win the Champions League and Premier League titles. The 5-0 win at Burnley meant the Gunners have kicked off a calendar year with 5 straight league wins for the first time in their history. Arteta's second-place side are 2 points behind leaders Liverpool and now turn their attention to European action. Arsenal have won 5 on the trot and scored 21 in the process, having followed up at least the weekend's 6-0 win at West Ham with a 5-star performance at Burnley. The Confederation of Africa Football, CAF, has reached an agreement in principle for the 2025 Cup of Nations to be played in July and August next year in Morocco. Earlier this month, CAF President Patrice Motsepe had refused to confirm the dates of the next Africa Cup of Nations, with organizers left with little time to stage a qualifying competition, where it's to be held in January and February. However, playing in June and July next year would mean a clash with FIFA's expanded Club World Cup, which is due to take place in North America. And now entertainment. Former Strictly Come Dancing performer Robin Bobby Windsor has died at age 44. Windsor was a professional Latin and ballroom dancer who appeared on the BBC show from 2010 to 2015, partnering with celebrities like Percy Kensett, Anita Dobson, Lisa Riley, and Deborah Meaden. He also appeared with Susanna Reid in the 2011 Children in Need special and with This Morning anchor Alison Hammond in the 2015 Christmas special. He had most recently performed in the theatrical music Come What May, a Moulin Rouge tribute. And now, as we end News Express on Global Television, let's take a quick look at some of our top stories. House of Representatives has passed for a second reading a bill on state police. Federal government says it plans installation of biometric gates at the nation's international airports in March. Flood has left residents stranded in Lagos communities. And in sports, we told you CAF has announced the date for the 2025 AFCON for between July and August. And that's it on News Express, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using our Global TVNG and other handles, as you now see on your screen. I'm Uyi Agumofwegbe, thanking you very specially for watching. On behalf of my colleagues here at Global Television, we'll see you again. And coming up shortly is The Desk with Anthony and the rest of the team.